what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 4 of the Fantasy Formula, brought to you by TheMesh.tv. Ad Rock, not a bad week for team return of the Chad out last week. 2-1, posted about 130 points in each league, 90 in my loss. But how'd you do, my friend?
Look, I'll have to give my boy Jay-Bird some props. He took me to the woodshed, ran into some guy named Darren McFadden.
Wow, what a week he
Yes,
had.
got a game-time decision on Beanie Wells, who was going to be my flex. Generally good 15, 20 points. 5 minutes before the 4 o'clock kickoff, you got the big old O beside his name. So I had to stick in my winning receiver called Emmanuel Sanders, who got me a total of 2.
Absolutely. I noticed in a few of my leagues, right before the games posted, Peyton Hillis, who's had a monster year, out.
Yep.
Antonio Gates, right before the game, out. One guy in our league had 3 of these outs that happened in like 15 minutes prior to the game.
Me. I mean, you're sitting there with your iPad, whatever you have, and you start scrambling, and then you look at it, you start realizing how bad your bench really is. You're like, man, I ain't got nobody. It's like trying to buy a Christmas present last minute. What do I do?
Exactly.
It's horrible.
Completely concur, buddy. And typically when you wait, what did you get your wife for Christmas last year? I remember hearing it was very, very bad.
I got nothing.
No comment. All right. On that, let's move to the Fantasy 45, the fastest 45 seconds in fantasy football, where Chad and Adrock bring you all the matchups and all the players to start next week. We're going to hit them all first here with Carolina Panthers, your Carolina Panthers. Growl. At the Chicago Bears. Addison, last week, Carolina Panthers got their first win of the season with a 16-10 win over Jacksonville, the stars of the game. You know, Cam Newton didn't have his 400-yard performance, but he did put up 158 and a touchdown. We predicted here D'Angelo Williams would have a solid performance. He was limited to only about 17 yards. Jonathan Stewart had 59 yards on the ground. Greg Olsen, 7 receptions, 57 yards and a touch. We'll head down to Chicago, where they played the Packers last weekend. Tough game for the Bears at home. Cutler, again, running for his life. Did put up 302 yards and 2 touchdowns. But your man, Matt Forte, who's on your fantasy team, was really held down. I think maybe 4 carries for 12 yards and a reception or 2. Who you got in the Panthers versus the Bears?
I want to go with the Bears. The Bears is too strong. I like Matt Forte in this matchup coming out of the backfield. And Orton's looking, not Orton, Cutler's looking pretty good. I mean, I'm liking him as quarterback, especially the defense for Carolina's hurting. They're still lost their 2 starting linebackers. I'm seeing a lot of fantasy points from the Bears side of it. Forte, 20, 25 fantasy points. Cam Newton, look, minus the weather, I think he could have had another big game. I mean, he is definitely not gun shy, but I'm liking Matt Forte out of the backfield in this game. Cutler, I don't know, 20, 22 points. Go Bears.
You heard it here. Addison likes the Bears. Chado also likes the Bears. The number opened up in Vegas at -5. It's moved all the way up to -7, and I like them Bears, -7. Next up on the agenda here, Buffalo Bills, the surprising Buffalo Bills, at the Cincinnati Bengals. Last week, as predicted here by yours truly, the Buffalo Bills beat the New England Patriots and covered that big number. I think against Cincinnati, I think they may do it again. Cincinnati coming off a game where Andy Dalton went 17 for 32 for $157. Cedric Benson, 17 carries, 64 yards. We'll hit the Bills stats real quick. Fitzpatrick, another stellar day, 369, 2 touchdowns. Fred Jackson looks like a beast, 74 yards, 1 touchdown. I think he's first or second in the league in rushing. Addison, here we go. The undefeated Bills go to your Cincinnati Bengals. Who you like?
Look, who they, baby? I'm going to stick with my true. I'm going to stick true and red orange here. I'm liking the Cincinnati Bengals. Look, Cedric Benson, depending upon his appeal, is going to be out. And this will go back to waiver wire here if you got Bernard Scott, possible pickup. But I'm going for as a win, my Bengals. As fantasy points, you can't go wrong with the league's leading rusher and Fred Jackson. Fitzpatrick has proved me wrong week after week. I'm liking him. Stevie Johnson, tight end, both for Buffalo. Awesome fantasy pickups. Tight end Buffalo got me, I think, 9 points last week. What's the big white boy's name? I can't remember.
For him?
Buffalo. I always forget his name.
You're Scott Chandler.
Scott Chandler, that's it.
Yeah.
God, I never remember his name. He got me 8 points. He's a solid pickup if you don't have him already. But win, go Who Day, baby. But fantasy points wise, start your Bills.
Two quick things regarding this game. First of all, keep your eyes out on the news. Your man Cedric Benson could be suspended because of this his problem with the law for 3 weeks. It might start this week, so keep that in mind. Second thing, I'd like to give a shout out to Cincinnati, Ohio. I was there this weekend for the NC State game versus the Cincinnati Bearcats, where the Wolfpack got massacred. It was not even fun. However,
hold up, Chad. Let me do it. Oh,
thank you, Addison. That sounded like me screaming for my life after that game because it was horrendous. We got beat 41-14. But I will tell you, the people of Cincinnati, Ohio, showed us a great time. A lot of fun had in Cincinnati. I'll just leave it at that, Addison. And with that, I will take the Cincinnati Bengals because of my great time last week with the Cincinnati folks, minus the 3 against Buffalo Bills. Next game, we're going to Tennessee. The Tennessee Titans at the Cleveland Browns. Last week, Tennessee, they got a win. They got a win against the Broncos, but unfortunately, they lost probably their best player, Kenny Britt, out with a torn ACL and MCL. Tough news for all those Kenny Britt owners. Hasselback, another great game, 27 for 36, 311 and 2 touchdowns. On the other side, Cleveland holds on for a 17-16 win over the visiting Dolphins. Colt McCoy, 210 and 2 touchdowns. Again, this is the game. Peyton Hillis was a scratch right before the game started. Montario Hardesty comes in there with in a relief mode, 14 carries, 67 yards. The Browns aren't pretty, but they're getting it done. They're 2-1 against the Titans, 2-1. Ad-Rock, give it to me.
Look, Colt McCoy, I actually picked him up. I didn't like Peyton or Eli Manning against the Philly D this week, which obviously was a mistake. But Colt McCoy put up some decent numbers, 20 points as a QB. Could have been a little better. The defense was giving some troubles, but I'm liking Cleveland in this matchup. I don't know. I think the Browns have something going. I mean, it's not a lot. I'm not saying they're good, but I think they got something going. They got some good people in place. Masqua's coming around. I mean, 8-9 points fantasy. I don't know if he's definitely start yet, but definitely if he's on the waiver wire, he could pick up. I'm liking the Browns this matchup. Not a lot of fantasy points going around, but I like the Browns this matchup.
A couple of things I'll add real quick, Ad-Rock. With Kenny Britt going out, I'm sure you've got this on your waiver wire report, but your man Nate Washington could replace him. Also look to have for Hasselback to kind of fall off a little bit now that he doesn't have his man on the outside, Kenny Britt, to throw to. Look for him to fall off. Chris Johnson, on the other hand, maybe they give him more of the load, Addison, and he's going to get more than 21 yards like he did last week. Been a huge disappointment so far. Maybe this will kick him into gear. This guy likes Cleveland, minus the 2. Next up, we go to Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, that's Dallas Stadium where the Detroit Lions, the 3-0 Detroit Lions, take on the Dallas Cowboys coming off that stunning victory over the Skins on Monday night. Matt Stafford just keeps it going for the Lions. They're 3-0, Addison, 3-0. They have not been 3-0 since 1981. You were still about 28 years old. I was only 7. They're 3-0 right now with the 26-23 victory over Minnesota Vikings. Stafford, 378 and 2 touchdowns. Yes, he's on all 3 of my fantasy teams. Javid Best, 12 carries, 14 yards. Not much to write home about. Calvin Johnson, another beastly day.
Did you just say you had the same starting quarterback on how many teams?
3 starts, 3 teams.
What's your record so far this year?
2-1, 2-1, and we're not going to talk about that other league.
And what did you finish last year? Did you go by
I got 2 rings. I've got 2 rings, Addison. 2 rings.
Sure. That's okay. Your silence.
Detroit Lions coming off that win play these Dallas Cowboys who held on for dear life 18-16 against the Skins. Romo 22 for 36, 255, battling that lung and that rib injury. Showed a lot of heart in that game. Felix Jones, huge game, 14 carries.
The man was hurt, and he ran. Can you believe that he ran? He got around the edge on that one run at 25, 30 yards. I thought the man was hurt.
Dude, he looked fabulous.
He looked good.
Yeah, he running over people, a lot of speed. If he can just stay healthy, I think he could turn into a top 10 fantasy running back. Addison, Detroit, goes to Dallas. Do they stay undefeated?
Yes. I mean, Detroit's looking good right now. Javad Best is running like a man possessed. You got Megatron on the end. I mean, even the safety's coming over. They got the man on single. They just need to stick 2 corners over him. I mean, the man is 6'5", 230. And I don't understand why they really not just put 2 corners on him and say, all right, not try to throw the ball to me. But you know what? I like this. I like Detroit in this. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Detroit's defense, Ndamukong Suh, which we talked about first year, is a beast. He is a one-man wrecking crew in the backfield. Stafford's looking good. I mean, he's settled down in the pocket. I'm like a lot of fantasy points out of him. I will say I wouldn't advise starting the quarterback in four different leagues, but that's just me. But no, I like Detroit's in this. I like Calvin Johnson, 20-plus points against this. Javad Best, probably 15 to 18 fantasy points. Stafford, another solid outing, 22 to 25 fantasy points.
Vegas set the line of the over-under of 46, and I concur. I like a lot of points in this Detroit-Dallas game. Let's go over the total 46. Addison, good call. I think there's going to be a lot of fantasy points to be had.
Are we agreeing on all of the first 4 games?
I'm afraid so. What the hell's wrong with me? Let's move on to Minnesota at Kansas City. The Vikings. Oh, the poor Vikings. 0-3. They've had the lead in the first half of all 3 games and give it away in the last 3 minutes. It's been a tough go for the Vikings. We had AP, 17 carries, 78 yards and a touchdown. He only got 5 carries in the second half. That makes no sense to me. The number 1 running back in the league gets 5 carries in the second half?
Dude, they're setting with gallows. They're going to have some public hangings in Minnesota here shortly.
Yeah, they're getting upset down there. They travel to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs showed a lot of heart. Played the Chargers. They were a 14.5-point dog. They were in the ballgame, 20-17 in the ballgame. Matt Castle, 176 and 2 touchdowns. Maybe he's coming around for you, Ad. Dwayne Bowe, 4 receptions, 67 yards and a touch. We got Minnesota at Kansas City, both 0-3. Who gets their first win?
Hold up, I'm getting a quarter out. It's going to be Minnesota. I still don't see anything with Kansas City. They're still in disarray. I like Minnesota in this one. Minnesota's defense looked good. They looked like they had glimpses of old school Minnesota D. I don't see Kansas City overcoming that. AP gets his dime, probably 2 touches. Donovan McNabb, if the O-line could give him some time, he could get the ball out there. He's got some decent weapons out there, but I like AP in this game. I don't see a lot of other fantasy points coming around this game, so I will stick with that. But I like Minnesota in this win.
This guy likes under the total, too. Addison, not many fantasy points to be had in this game, and also under 39.5. Off the board, Minnesota, Kansas City, under the total. We go to St. Louis next for our next game. St. Louis, Washington Redskins travel to the St. Louis Rams. St. Louis Rams, 0-3, got destroyed, 37-7 against the Ravens. Bradford, well, I just don't know what's happening to St. Louis. I don't know if he doesn't have enough time to get rid of the ball or enough weapons on the outside. 166 and a touchdown. Maybe Steven Jackson comes back for him next week. I hope so for their sake.
He needs to pedal harder on that bike on the sideline, that's for sure.
No doubt about it. Hopefully he'll come in and breathe a little life into this team. They play the Redskins. Redskins coming off that heartbreaking loss to the Cowboys. Sexy Rexy, 22 for 37, 250 and a touch, but a costly fumble on that last drive that hurt him. Tim Hightower, 14 for 41, and Santana Moss, 5 receptions for 70 yards. Washington at St. Louis. Addison, what you like?
I'm liking the Skins, baby. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Deadskins, but I'm liking this game. Sexy Rexy has me believing that he is a really good quarterback. You know, forget this man did take a team to the Super Bowl. He did not win, but he did take the Bears to the Super Bowl. I like him. He's got some offensive weapons. What's Tim Hightower and the backup was it Halou? Both running good. I'm liking those running backs. I think they're finally when Shanahan gets his act together, they have a 1-2 punch, kind of like the Panthers do. They got running backs to do it. I like Hightower. I'm seeing 15, 20 points out of him. Santana Moss out on the end. The man is still a speedster. He's been in the league, 8-9 years. He's still a speedster. I like him. If you got any of those 3, definitely start him up. But yeah, I like him. Washington this game.
Finally, things are back to normal. I'm going with the St. Louis Rams against Ad Rock's Washington pick. St. Louis, the number right now in Las Vegas is a pick 'em, and I like to pick the St. Louis Rams. They get it done in St. Louis. San Fran at Philadelphia. That's our next one, Addison. San Fran at Philadelphia. San Fran came from behind against your Bengals, 13-8 in a win. Not much offense here. Alex Smith, 201, no touchdowns. Frank Gore, 17 carries, 42 yards. Just not the Frank Gore of old. Something's going on. I think he's got a banged-up ankle or something. Not much happening with him. Vernon Davis was the star, 8 receptions, 114. They travel to the Philadelphia Eagles, who are reeling right now. Michael Vick owners, I know you guys are frustrated. You don't know whether to start him, not to start him. This is my inside sources tell me Vick will start, and hopefully he will get it done against those San Francisco 49ers. Addison, San Fran at Philly. What you like?
I'm going to say Philly. LaShawn McCoy still had, they may reel him, but LaShawn McCoy rolled off 128 yards last week. I'm liking him against his defense. Frank Gore, look, Hunter chipped into his rush a little bit. I think midseason Frank Gore's back is going to hurt. Like I said at the start of the year, his back is going to give out from carrying the load out there. Alex Smith does nothing every week. I think quarterback chains won't be far off from them too. But I'm liking Philly. Kafka, Kafka threw some picks, but man's got an arm. He's a rookie, but I like him. But I'm liking the Philly in this game.
In Vegas right now, they're undecided. It's a no line is set because of Vic's status, so there's no line in Vegas, which is interesting. They're waiting to hear exactly what Vic will do. But this guy thinks Philly's going to roll as well, Addison.
Oh, roll big.
We concur. On to the next one, New Orleans at Jacksonville. The New Orleans Saints 2-1. A huge win over the Houston Texans, who are undefeated. Drew Brees does it again, 31-44, 370 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Jimmy Graham, the tight end, really showed up. 4 receptions, 100 yards, and a touchdown. They travel to Jacksonville. Jacksonville 1-2, coming off that loss against the Panthers. Blaine Gabbert, 12 for 21, 139 and a touchdown. At least MJD is there to do some type of offense for them. He had 24 carries for 122. And Mercedes Lewis, your pick for optimal last week, Addison, I don't even see him on this board. So obviously he did nothing. Who are you going to have in New Orleans at Jacksonville?
It'd save us all some time if Jacksonville didn't show up. New Orleans has just got too many weapons for them. Jones-Drew, I think they're playing on some turf. They're playing in New Orleans.
No, they're playing at Jacksonville.
Oh, at Jacksonville National Turf?
Yeah.
I like Jones-Drew for this matchup. If you got him, which you're always going to start him, I still think he's going to go through that New Orleans line like hot knife through butter. But, that's just me. I'm seeing still him doing a dime, 2 touchdowns. Nothing much for Jacksonville. Gabbert, nothing. I'm not going to say anything.
What about Mercedes Lewis?
Okay, look, you've killed me about my wife's Christmas present. You're chalking up some gimmies here.
All right, buddy. So you like the New Orleans Saints?
Yeah, I'm liking the New Orleans Saints in this matchup. There's no upside for Jacksonville on this one.
So do I. Vegas opened the line at 6, has been bet up to 7.5, and I'm going to go with the better. 7.5, New Orleans gets it done in Jacksonville. Next game, Pittsburgh at the Houston Texans. Houston's Texans, again, coming off that first loss against the Saints. Matt Schaub, 373 and 3 touchdowns, had one heck of a game. Ben Tate, 19 carries, 82 yards in replacement of Arian Foster, who has been hurt. But, ladies and gentlemen, Arian Foster, my sources say he comes back next week as the starter. Andre Johnson, 7 receptions for 128. He continues to get it done against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who struggled against the Indianapolis Colts, but they did bring home the game 23-20. They're now 2-1. Roethlisberger, 25 for 37, 364 and a touch. Rashard Mendenhall really stifled on the ground, only 37 yards, but the other star, Mike Wallace, 5 receptions, 144 and a touch. Addison, big game here. Who you got?
Did your wife tell you that Arian Foster was going to start? Because I'm pretty sure that's your source, right?
No, my sources come from many other places. Continue on, sir.
Oh, well, I like a Roethlisberger burger in this one. If all y'all people that sent the emails, I can pronounce it any way I want to. Roethlisberger burger. I'm liking Pittsburgh. I am. I see a lot of fancy points in this game. They let go. Ben Tate could still pick up a lot of I think get some of the carries. Arian Foster, I think they're going to limit him. They don't. We still got a long season left to go. Now the season number 3 back, Houston just dropped. Steve Slayton's gone. So.
Wasn't that your pick? Didn't you say look for him on your waiver wire as your sleeper and he got cut today?
Well, look, yesterday. Look, he was 3rd string. You got the 1st string out.
Lord have mercy.
Ben Tate. Who's Ben Tate? Really? This kid could be a scrub. He could be a fluke. Whatever. I like Pittsburgh in this matchup.
I'm going opposite. I'm going Houston Texans. They're giving 4. Houston Texans giving 4 against the mighty Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think they get it done in Houston. Houston minus the 4. We're going to Arizona, traveling way out west to the Arizona Cardinals as they host the New York Giants. Arizona coming off the 13-10 loss against the Seattle Seahawks, Addison. Arizona Cardinals 1-2. Kevin Cobb putting up some decent yards, but they're not getting it done offensively. 1 touchdown. Larry Fitzgerald held to 64 yards and 1 touchdown. On the other end for the Giants actually shocked the Eagles. Eli had a nice game, 4 touchdowns, 254 yards, and Ahmad Bradshaw, 15 carries, 86 yards. He looked very nice. Who you got? Addison Giants, Arizona.
What Manningham? Manningham in, out?
Remember, he had the concussion. He's out. They're going to see how he progresses during the week, and they'll announce his if he's going to play later on this week. I'm
like Giants this game. The the pass defense against 2 weeks ago with the Giants. Eli Manning couldn't throw a ball against the Philly, 2 weeks before that, who they played? What, the Skins? No, the Falcons. The Falcons. Couldn't throw anything. And they came back with a new game plan, and they hit Brandon Jacobs and Bradshaw in the backfield. I think they both had both combined almost had 100 yards receiving that game. I like that. I like how they came with a new game plan. I'm liking New York in this matchup. depends on Beanie Wells starts. I mean, right now it's questionable. They got Alfonso Smith as backup, which he's good. He took the ball and ran with it, but I don't think he can match up against the Giants defense right now. I'm liking Arizona in this, or New York in this all day long. Kevin Kolb has a big game, 25, 30 fantasy points in this one.
Just an interesting tidbit of info for all you guys who like to place the friendly wagers with your neighbors down the street. This game opened at a pick'em, Addison. It opened at a pick'em, and it's moved 3 points in 3 days in Arizona's favor. When I see a big line movement like that, I like to think that I like to play who the opposite of everybody else will play. They call that contrarian. So we're going Arizona minus the 3. They get it done at home. Moving on, Atlanta at the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks, as we just discussed, beat the Arizona Cardinals last week. They are a different team at home. They're a different team at home. Seattle last week. Tavares Jackson, 171, still getting nothing done. Marshawn Lynch was 73 yards. I had him. He posted me eight fantasy points. And Sidney Rice finally shows up. 8 receptions, 109 yards for those Seattle Seahawks. They're facing the Atlanta Falcons, who are coming off that tough loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the Atlanta Falcons last week. Matt Ryan, 330 and a touchdown. Michael Turner, 11 carries, 20 yards. What's wrong with Michael Turner?
No clue. I mean, does he need to get on Jenny Craig? I mean, something. He looked horrible.
Yeah, something's happening to him.
He was tackled for a loss. I mean, a couple times he was tackled for a loss. It's like they hand the ball to say, here, smear the queer or something. I don't know. That was horrible.
Yeah, tough stuff happening in Atlanta. They were predicted as everybody's favorite to win the NFC, and now they're 1-2. Addison, Atlanta, travels to Seattle. Who you like?
I'm liking Atlanta. I don't care what's going on in Seattle. I don't care what type of pep talk coach is giving them in the locker room afterwards. Atlanta's going to roll. Matty Ryan looked like old school Matty Ryan, putting up 330. Roddy White, $140 in receiving yards. I'm liking huge fantasy points out of both. And Michael Turner, I got nothing. I don't know. I mean, I was kind of shocked. I mean, generally he'll put up 89 yards and, I mean, no touches, but 20 yards?
Yeah.
I mean, he was a Donovan McNabb? I mean, come on.
Not too good.
I'm liking Atlanta this matchup.
Almost right with the world again as I go opposite of Ad Rock. We're going to go the Seattle Seahawks getting it done on the road. Addison, we've talked about this 3 weeks in a row.
Contrarian, you.
Matt Ryan cannot play on the road. He cannot get it done on the road. That's why I like Seahawks plus the 5.5. Moving on to the next game, sir. We're going down to Denver at Green Bay. Denver Broncos against the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers undefeated, and they play very well at Lambeau Field. Coming off the win against the Bears, Aaron Rodgers just does what he does. 297 and 3 touchdowns, nothing to it. Ryan Grant established himself a little bit more than Starks last week, Addison. He had 17 carries for 92 yards. He's got something wrong with his kidney, I think, a bruised kidney, but he says he's going to play through it, so he should be the starter next week. Greg Jennings, 9 receptions for 119. They play against the Broncos. Last week, the Broncos, who did the Broncos play last week, Ad? They played the Titans, and they got beat against the Titans. Kyle Orton with 173 for 2 touchdowns. McGahee, 22 carries for 52 yards. They missed Brandon Lloyd on the end. He's been hurt. He didn't play last game. Supposedly, he's coming back. Look for Denver to throw the ball against the Green Bay Packers defense. Addison, Denver, at Green Bay at Lambeau Field. Who you like?
I'm waiting. I can't wait to see this game. All right, who is the starting run back in Green Bay?
Right now, it's Ryan Grant.
Because last week, I swore Starks was going to be it. He was.
I think he started.
And I mean, Grant put up 92 yards. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And Denver, I mean, Willis McGahee was their leading rusher last week. 52 yards.
Yes.
Let me say that again. Willis McGahee was their leading rusher. That's a little suspect.
Because your man O'Shawn can't stay healthy and stay on the field.
Look, lay off the Georgia boy. Look, he's going to come through. But look, right now, I mean, Green Bay is just going to roll over all this team. I mean, I think they're playing like champions they are. I like them a lot. Fantasy points galore on the Green Bay side. Denver's got nothing. I'm saying if it's over, you take it. Spread, you take it. If you got a Green Bay Packer, start him. I don't care if you're down to Judge Nelson, put him in. But, I mean, put him in.
Ad-Rock, one quick question. The Tebow watch has been on. This is week 4. When do we expect to see Tebow come and replace Kyle Orton?
All right, let's do a side bet on there. You ready?
Go.
I say week 7.
I go week 8.
Deal. All right, write this down.
That's for a cold one. And we're going to take over the total, 48 points over the total. Green Bay and Denver gets it done. New England at Oakland. Ladies and gentlemen, New England at Oakland. New England Patriots coming off their first loss of the year to the Buffalo Bills. Tom Brady, It's 387 and 4 touchdowns, but on the other side of that, he threw 4 picks. Tom Brady didn't throw 4 picks all of last year, and he threw 4 picks in one game.
448 completions without a pick, and he throws. I mean, that's insane.
Unbelievable. Everybody's due for a bad game every now and then. You know what I'm saying? They travel to the Oakland Raiders. The Oakland Raiders coming off their shocking upset of the New York Jets. Dude, Jason Campbell, 156, doesn't really get it done, but he doesn't turn the ball over. All he has to do is get it to your man, Darren McFadden, 171, 2 touchdowns.
Dude, it looked like old school Bo Jackson out there.
He did.
I was impressed. I mean, watching the highlight, that one game was a highlight film. 170 yards rushing, and I don't know how many he had receiving. How many he had receiving?
I don't know. He was awesome.
I'll tell you what, his fantasy number was big.
So what you think here?
I'm like, of course, I still like New England. I'll take the back. I'm going to go out on a limb. I think the Oakland's are playing good. I think New England's a little rattled. I'm going to say Oakland. There's a lot of fancy ones out. Wes Welker, good God, 217 yards receiving last week.
Yeah.
217 yards receiving.
That was sick.
This man had a reconstructed knee, and he's out there blowing people off the line. It's crazy. I'm still liking Oakland's game. It's a stretch on this one on the pick. I don't know who's going to win. Fancy points, you got McFadden. That's about it for Oakland. But you got Wes Welker, Deion Branch, you got Brady. I may start, and against this defense, I may start the law firm, Green Ellis. I know he's got some other carries, but I like him against his defense. I really do.
Let me throw a couple more things in there. You like the law firm. I don't, because there's this young cat, Stephen Ridley, who's come out of nowhere. Everybody, I'm sure you're going to probably comment on him in your waiver wire pickups at the end of the show, but I think he's going to start getting the bulk of the carries. I can't predict that for sure, but let's just look for it. The other thing I wanted to mention to you is that tight end for New England, he caught a ton of yards and 2 more touchdowns. He looks like something like that. Gradkowski. He looks like he's Brady's go-to guy. When Welker's not getting it, it's him getting it.
Hernandez is out too. So.
Exactly. And Ocho Cinco, it might be time to cut bait with him. That dude is doing nothing. So for this game, I agree with you, Addison. A lot of fantasy points. I like over the total 52, over the total 52. Next, we're going to travel to San Diego, where the Chargers take on the lowly Miami Dolphins. San Diego coming off that game against the Chiefs where they won 20-17. Phillip, 266. Ryan Matthews looks like a man possessed coming off last year's disappointment. This year, 21 carries, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns last week against the Chiefs. Vincent Jackson kind of held down a little bit, 63 yards. Play the Miami Dolphins, who are still searching for that first win. Daniel Thomas surprises everybody with another great game, 23 carries, 95 yards, and a touchdown through the air. Henne, 255 and a touchdown. The Dolphins 0-3. I heard some rumors that they're calling for the coach's head. If they don't have a better performance against this game against the Chargers, they might be looking for a new coach next week. Addison, Miami goes to San Diego. What you got?
I tell you what, man. I think the Chargers are going to prevail, but man, the fantasy points. It's kind of crazy, this game. You got Ryan Matthews. I thought Tolbert was the man out there. Tolbert was good out of backfield on 3rd down, but Ryan Matthews put up almost a dime last week. That's 5 bonus points in some leagues if he gets to the century mark. Daniel Thomas, Miami looked good, 95 yards. What got me, Hartline. You know, Hartline, I'm going to tell you, he's on probably everybody's waiver wire. You can get him. And he put up 87 yards. In the last couple of weeks, you've seen his name on SportsCenter. He's getting 67 yards, 87. He gets some clips of yardage. Mm-hmm. I'm still liking San Diego, Vincent Jack and Phillip Rivers. I think there's too much for Miami. Miami's pass defense is horrible, and Rivers is going to have a heyday.
I concur with you, buddy. And I know you love Reggie Bush and all that good stuff, but it's time for Reggie Bush owners to move him from the flex. Let's move him to the bench, or maybe move him to the waiver wire.
Definitely.
Because he is doing nothing. On the other end, Mike Tolbert. I know y'all hold on to Mike Tolbert because it's not over yet for him, but Ryan Matthews looks like he's going to be the man down there in San Diego.
If he can stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, he's the man, but only then.
Good point, Addison. What I'm going to do here is, because they're going to be fighting for the coach's life, Vegas has got San Diego as a 9-point favorite. I'm going to take the dog, the Miami Dolphins, to fight for their coach, not necessarily get that win, but cover that number, +9. Miami +9 in San Diego.
You're going to get your quarterback, Phillip Rivers, the state boy, and the boy you've hyped on, Vincent Jackson.
When people fight for something and have passion for something, Addison, like the Dolphins will for their coach, they might get it done.
What's the coach's name? What's the coach's name? Tony Soprano?
Something like that. Yes, sir. All right, let's move on. New York Jets at the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore coming off the win in grand style against the Rams, 37-7. Flacco, 389, 3 touchdowns. If you had him and you started him, you were very happy. That was his best performance of the year. Ray Rice, 81 yards on the ground. The surprise rookie, Torrey Smith from Maryland, 5 receptions, 152, 3 touchdowns for the Ravens. He was really, really awesome. Playing the Jets, coming off that tough loss, 369 for Sanchez and 2 touchdowns, but I think he had a couple more picks. Sean Green still can't get it going, 15 for 59. LT led them in receptions with 116 and a touchdown. Wow, will he take some more of Sean Green's carries? I don't know. Jets, Baltimore, Ad-Rock, give it to me.
I'm liking Baltimore this. I mean, Jets have some offensive power, but you know what? I dogged Baltimore's defense first year. They're looking strong right now. I don't see anything that Sanchez can do against his defense. Defense, I thought was old, but they're hopping. I mean, I'm liking that. Sean Green, look, what did I say the first year? I'm not big on this guy. It's generally 3-4 weeks in the season. LT comes back in. LT didn't look like he's lost a step. Now, he had that one long reception that the camera showed. He looked winded, but that's understandable. But I still think that man's got a step on most people. He's third on the all-time list, I think, in rushing yards and touchdowns. I'm liking – well, I still like Baltimore this. But fantasy points-wise, I think I think Sean Green, this could be the game where he goes to the bench. I think LT moves to number 1.
Good points, Addison. I'm going to add a couple things to that. A little birdie on my shoulder told me something earlier today. The New York Jets have changed their philosophy from a run team. They've kind of shifted it to a pass-throwing team because they think Sanchez can carry them. I think that's bad thinking on their end. If they're going to win, they have to establish the run. So, I heard that through the grapevine. They've changed their philosophy.
That's a whole conversation with that. That's probably the biggest mistake in the NFL season.
I completely agree. If they do that, their season's out the window. Baltimore Ravens, you guys, that Torrey Smith dude was hype. 3 touchdowns. He was great. However, Lee Evans going to be back in the picture this week. So y'all don't get too
wire available. Every league, I guarantee, is available.
Oh, no doubt. But don't get too hype on Torrey Smith because Lee Evans does come back and they share the same spot. So anyway, just my 2 cents. We're going Baltimore minus the 4. Baltimore Ravens get it done in Baltimore minus the 4. And last but not least, Addison, the Indianapolis Colts go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This game probably preseason was way hyped with Peyton Manning coming to Tampa Bay. Now without Peyton there, it's another story. Last week, Indianapolis had the guy, your man, Kerry Collins, go out with a concussion, replaced by this dude.
Put him on me.
What's the name? Curtis Painter. And actually, he didn't look too bad.
Painter looked pretty good, man. He came in the game in a spot, made some good plays. They stuck around. I mean, I won't say they stuck around, but I'll tell you what. Go ahead in this matchup. We'll get to this. I was thoroughly impressed by the effort that Indianapolis Colts defense put out. I mean, it was impressive to say the least. That front line looked like the best front line in football. I mean, Mathis and Freeney around the corners was unbelievable.
Yeah, they were nasty.
They were beating on Rosenberg like nobody's business.
And nobody expected that either.
Nobody stepped. Especially Ben Rosenberg. They sacked him 5 times. I mean, that was
probably.
And getting sacked by those guys, that's not like a safety. Those are 2 big people.
Absolutely. Indy travels to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay got coming off the win against Atlanta last week. Josh Freeman, 22 for 32 and 180. LeGarrette Blount, 81 yards. Mike Williams, not much through the air, 43 yards. Addison, Indy at Tampa. Does Indy get their first win?
No. I think Tampa Bay's still going to beat them. I think Tampa's a little too quick for them. Even though Indy's defense is good, I don't know if they can come up with a backup performance like that because that was impressive. I'm liking LeGarrette Blount in this game. I think this run up the middle. Josh Freeman could have a big game. I mean, I think he's really due. I'm going to go with the Bucs on this one. Not a lot of fantasy points there, but I think there could possibly be some sneakers, but I'm still liking the Bucs on this one.
I agree. Not a lot of fantasy points there. That's why when Vegas sets the line at 42 over-under, that's why Chad East takes under the total 42, under the total.
We'll get back to your show in a moment. Just a reminder, you're listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Find out more at themesh.tv and give us feedback on what you like. And now, as promised, back to your show.
That does it for the Fantasy 45. Addison, let's move on to Optimal Fantasy Lineup of the Week. Last week, Addison, I'm going to review our optimal fantasy lineup of the week, which was horrendous. Tom Brady, really our only standout. Dude threw for 400, whatever, 4 touchdowns. He's the quarterback that I chose, and you followed me up with the selection of the running backs, and you chose whom, Addison?
I don't really.
It was Frank Gore with 3 fantasy points and D'Angelo Williams with 4 fantasy points. So, Addison, you get a big fat F on the running backs. As for the wide receivers, not too good over here, buddy. Larry Fitzgerald, 74 yards and a touchdown. Not too bad, but I chose Kenny Britt. He tears his MCL and ACL out for the year, so give myself not too good of a grade on the wide receivers. Addison, do we need
D? We'll give you D.
Thanks. Do we need to even talk about the Mercedes Lewis pickup by you of tight end? Not too good. I had the Pittsburgh D. They won, held Indy to 20 points. I mean, average.
Okay, say it one more time. They held Indianapolis to 20 points.
Good point. And you had Orlando Mare as the kicker in that pouring rainstorm.
Look, I'm not a meteorologist. I did not know they were going to have 10 inches of rain at the Panther Stadium. That was insane.
Addison, my grade for us this year, or on this week, and only because of Tom Brady, it would have been an F, but Tom Brady brings it down to a solid D+. Let's move on to this week's Optimal Fantasy Lineup of the Week.
I'm excited.
Addison, I know you're excited. You can redeem yourself. Here we go, Addison.
baby.
You get the quarterback. Give it to me.
Matty Ryan. I know you don't like Matty Ryan on the road, but after last week's performance, he's feeling comfortable in the pocket. Roddy White had a good showing. I'm liking his weapons down there. I'm liking Matty Ryan on this matchup. I'm seeing 25 to 30 fantasy points. He's feeling confident. He's staying in the pocket, which 2 weeks ago against the Giants he did not do. They worked on that. I'm seeing Matt Ryan, big week this week.
You heard it. We'll move on to running backs. LaShawn McCoy facing the San Francisco 49ers will be my RB1 with Vic questionable. I think they're going to give the ball to McCoy a bunch, run over some San Francisco 49ers. My RB2, Darren McFadden. Dude, he might be the best runner in the NFL right now, playing the New England Patriots who can't stop anybody. I see McFadden running wild against the Patriots. Addison, go ahead and give me them wide receivers.
All right, first one, Calvin Johnson. Megatron enough said. They need to put 2 corners on him. That man is unstoppable. I mean, Stafford's just throwing the ball up to him. It's just go get it. I like Calvin Johnson. Number 2, I like Mike Wallace this week for the Steelers. I'm thinking he's going to have a big game. 20 to 22 fantasy points. Receivers pretty good. I'll take Calvin Johnson with another 25 fantasy points any day of the week for the 2 receivers.
Bingo. On the tight end, I'll take it, Addison. I'm gonna no, it definitely won't be Mercedes Lewis, but you guys might get a chuckle out of this. If you kept up with the injury report, Antonio Gates, who's been everybody's number 1 tight end for the last 10 years, he is banged up again with a foot. Something's wrong with his foot, plantar fasciitis or whatever you call it.
It's his toe, isn't it?
It's a mixture of all kinds of bad stuff. So he went to a surgeon in North Carolina. Hopefully he'll get some good news, but he's definitely not playing this week. He's being replaced by Randy McMichael. Remember this dude, Randy McMichael, way back in the day from the Miami Dolphins, and he played here and he played there. Well, he's replacing Antonio Gates. My sleeper of the week, ladies and gentlemen, sleeper of the week, Randy McMichael to fill in for Antonio Gates, tight end. We'll roll the dice and see how that works. Addison, hit me with the D.
I'm going with the Dirty Bird, baby. Going with the Falcons D this week. I like that matchup. They're looking fast. They're looking strong. I like the secondary. I think Dirty Bird's going to prevail this week.
Right on. And for the kicker, we're going to go with Neil Rackers for the Houston Texans. I see a lot of points in this game.
15 points for me last week. My boy's got a foot.
Congratulations, my friend. Hopefully he does it again. So for a quick review for the Optimal Fantasy Lineup of the Week, we've got Matt Ryan, LaShawn McCoy, Darren McFadden, Mike Wallace, Calvin Johnson, Randy McMichael, Atlanta's defense, and Neil Rackers. Good luck to you, Ad Rock. I hope we have a better week than we did last week.
Most definitely.
Next, sir, we're going to move on to the waiver wire wonders. Ad Rock, I'm going to let you take it from here. Hit us with a few waiver wires this week.
All right, and jump in when you feel after some of these comments, after some of the players I picked. First one, I like Brandon Gibson in St. Louis. You know, he had some decent numbers this week, but I like him. Even though the offense is a little shaky, I think he's going to be available. He's a good solid. I'm thinking anywhere from 8 to 12 points. But if you're picking people off the waiver wire, I don't think these are going to be home runs. These are just good, solid pickups off your waiver wire. Brandon Gibson, first one, receiver out of St. Louis. First to Washington D, good pickup. And next one, Chad and I have talked about this before. Early Doucette out of Arizona. He's probably on some others. He's maybe not. He's not the number 1 choice, obviously, in Arizona with Larry Fitzgerald out there. But I like Early Doucette. Good, solid target for Kevin Cobb. Next one, Donald Jones, receiver for Buffalo. They're playing Cincinnati this week. I think the way Ryan Fitzpatrick is throwing, he's spreading the ball around, which I like. Donald Jones could get some throws to him. And Cincinnati defense is not the best. I'm liking Donald Jones in this matchup. Moving out to Arizona. With Beanie Wells, it's still a problem. His ankle's a little iffy. You have Alfonso Smith. Chester Taylor did get the chance last week. They gained the ball, and he did not run with it. Alfonso Smith, I think, is going to be the man this week. I like Beanie Wells not going. He's still on my bench, but Right now, I think they may hold off on Beanie Wells. I think Alfonso Smith showed enough effort last week to earn the starting job this week. I see Chester Taylor as a backup. Alfonso Smith, Arizona, could be a starting running back this week. Another one, moving into Washington, Jabbar Gaffney. I like Sexy Rexy. He's passing the ball with some authority. You've got 2 targets. He's got some tight ends, but Jabbar Gaffney has put up some solid numbers, 60 yards and 70 yards in the last 2 weeks. He's a target. I don't know if there's a lot of points. Definitely not a lot of points there, but we have this, the injury bug is out there. So if you need somebody, Jabbar Gaffney's not bad. It could be a Sunday 11:30, 12 o'clock replacement, but it's there. As Chad mentioned earlier, Torrey Smith in Baltimore could be pretty good, but if Lee Evans does come back, those points definitely could be diminished. San Francisco, Kendall Hunter. The boy's fast. Plain simple, the boy is fast. Frank Gore, Kendall Hunter's been chipping into his carries all year. I like him. I think in the next 2 weeks he could be. I think Frank Gore just gives out. I really do. I think the injury bug may get a hold of him. There's something will break down, or he's going to get sick of losing, don't want to play more. I think Kendall Hunter will get a lot more carries. You mentioned earlier Nate Washington, Tennessee. Good pickup. With Kenny Britt out, Nate Washington should be on everybody's waiver wire. I don't see him being anywhere. I mean, on anybody's roster. Somebody who could have foresight pick him up, I guarantee you can pick him up this week. And one of the last ones I got this week, obviously with Manningham out, 2 touches last week. My boy up in New York, Victor Cruz. Sleeper. If you started him last week, please email us in and let us know so we can call BS on you. But yeah, Victor Cruz up in. I like Eli. Eli's throwing the ball. He's not putting up a lot of numbers yardage wise, but he's still throwing the ball well. He's got a lot of target. He spreads it around. Victor Cruz could be, with depending on Manningham's out, so Victor Cruz is going to get some looks. Especially, if in the red zone he got 2 touchdown passes, I'm liking it.
Thank you, Addison. The Waiver Wire Wonders brought to you by TheMesh.tv. I've got 2 more to add to it, Addison. Hot off the wire. I'm just reading it now. Donnie Avery, the wide receiver who got cut from St. Louis Rams because of an injury, just got picked up by the Tennessee Titans. This hot off the wire. So the Tennessee Titans just picked up Donnie Avery. Now, obviously, he's going to need some time to get accustomed to the system, but he's got blazing speed. He's kind of a little fella, but he's very, very fast. So you guys don't pick him up this week. Look for him a couple weeks down the road. Also, just read Jacoby Ford started practicing this week. So he's back to practice. Give him a week or 2. I know a lot of people have dropped him. They could be out there on your waiver wire. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Addison, good job on the Waiver Wire Wonders. Let's move on to our newest segment of the day. It's called To Trade or Not to Trade. Thank you, Addison. We've received a few emails this week about some questions regarding trades. The first one was John from Charlotte. John asked, hey, yo, should I trade Michael Vick for Rashard Mendenhall? Ad-Rock, what do you think? Michael Vick for Rashard Mendenhall.
I'll take it all day long. Over the season, Vick's, you've already lost 2 games to Vick. You got to play some averages. We're playing with a point system. I take trade all day long. I take straight up Vick for Mendenhall, most definitely.
I agree that Pittsburgh's offensive line is a little banged up, but so is Vick. Maybe 2 or 3 more weeks with Vick. It's just injury waiting to happen. Yeah, go ahead and get some value for Vick. Mendenhall was a first-round pick. Go make the trade. Get it done, John.
I think, they ride the Mendenhall train, and I like it. But, over the whole season, yeah, I think I'd be a whole lot better pick than Vick would be.
I agree.
Straight up.
Next question comes from Brian from Raleigh. Brian asks, Addison, D'Angelo Williams and Dexter McCluster for Anquan Bolden. Do I make this trade?
No. Well, you know what? No, I'll take that back. I'd make that trade.
Is it yes or is it no?
You know what? I'll make that trade. Jay Stewart in Carolina has been doing a lot of the damage. D'Angelo, I don't know what he's doing. He's moping around. I don't know. McCluster in Kansas City, stay away from that like the plague. You know what? If you can get Anquan Bolden, he's put up some points. I like him in Baltimore. Yeah, Flacco's throwing the ball. Yeah, make the trade. I'll do it. Make the trade.
Brian, don't listen to Ad-Rock. Listen to your man, Chad. D'Angelo Williams, it's been a tough start for him. He will get it in gear. I guarantee you that. And Dexter McCluster has huge upside. Huge upside. Anquan Bolden on the downside of his career. D'Angelo for Dexter, you want to be on that side of the trade. Don't give him up for Anquan. Next up, Jim from Newton Conover, Addison. He asked, Josh Freeman and Fred Jackson for Matt Stafford and Jonathan Stewart? Silence.
No, I wouldn't make that trade. I wouldn't trade Fred Jackson. I wouldn't trade that for anything. If we got the leading rusher in the league. Josh Freeman, that's obviously second-tier quarterback. But no, you don't trade away the leading rusher. And the way they're playing now, no, don't make that trade.
I agree. Hang on to Fred Jackson. I mean, he's just getting it done. And Josh Freeman, he might turn, who knows? He's going to turn it around hopefully during the season. Matt Stafford, I love him. He's on all three of my teams, and I'm praying he doesn't get hurt, but he's definitely injury prone. So hold on to Fred Jackson. Don't make that trade. Guys, thank you for all the emails. Keep them coming in at info@themesh.tv. Keep those emails coming in. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, this is our last segment of the day. This is where we highlight a local or an out-of-town team, and we tell them who to start and who to bench. So here we go, Addison. I'm going to let you take it away.
This week, we're highlighting the league name of the Made Bowl. Team name, the Carolina Monkeys. This is Jennifer Presley's team. These are my people down in Charlotte. She is 2-1 in her league right now. And Chad, we'll go through the starting lineup. We'll come back. I'm going to go ahead and roll off starting lineup. We'll comment on it. All right, starting quarterback, Mark Sanchez. Wide receiver number 1, Larry Fitzgerald. Number 2, Anquan Bolden. Running back, Chris Johnson. Running back 2, Frank Gore. Tight end, Dallas Clark. And that could be your setup. I'm not sure. But, this is her team. I'll go ahead and roll all her team. Mark Sanchez, Kerry Collins, Larry Fitzgerald, Anquan Bolden, Chris Johnson, Frank Gore, Dallas Clark, Owen Daniels, Darren Sproles, Ryan Grant, Peyton Manning, well, he's out. Mike Williams, Santana Moss, and Braylon Edwards. Don't look like they have any tight end or kickers in their league, which some leagues are set up kind of funny. But I'll tell you what, we'll go through a first quarter. Quarterback, good. I mean, Sanchez, look, he's not my high on my list, but look, decent quarterback. Larry Fitzgerald, receiver number 1, decent. I mean, you have a really good lineup there. Anquan Bolden, good. I think he's good in Baltimore. Chris Johnson, and I don't know what's going on. He's falling off everybody's list. He's the fastest person in the league. I do not like him right now. He's not performed at all. Frank Gore, we just talked about Frank Gore before. I still like him out there, but Hunter's going to chip away at his carries. Dallas Clark, always a good choice. Darren Sproles, Darren Sproles. He's been performing every week. You have some people on the bench, Ryan Grant. If Starks doesn't take over carries in Green Bay, Grant could be good. Mike Williams, solid pick. Santana Moss, pretty good. And Braylon Edwards out in San Fran, a little suspect there. I'll tell you what, overall, I can see why you're 2-1. You got some marquee players that are putting up some numbers right now. You know what? I can see if you have a playoffs, I can see this as a playoff team in your league.
What's this beautiful lady's name?
Jennifer Presley.
Jennifer, I'm sorry, but this team is not good. First of all, I'm going to tell you what to do. Take my advice, and you might rally the troops and get this team in the playoffs. If you don't and take Addison's advice, you're going in the dumpster fire. Here's where it starts. Go ahead and try to trade Dallas Clark. Go ahead and get rid of him. He's got a little value because you want to slide Owen Daniels into the starting tight end. You're going to get with Dallas Clark probably a number 2 running back or a number 2 wide receiver who then you can slide in to replace Anquan Bolden because Larry Fitzgerald is solid. Very nice. Trade that Dallas Clark, get that number 2 wide receiver to put in for Anquan Bolden. Running back wise, Chris Johnson, hold on to him. He's going to come around with Kenny Britt being out now. Hasselback's not going to throw the ball. They're going to depend on Chris Johnson more. Hold on to him. Try to move Frank Gore if you can. You might not get much for him, so put him on your bench. Go ahead and start Ryan Grant in that spot until Ryan Grant proves that he can't handle the load. You want to put Darren Sproles in your flex spot. Mark Sanchez, he's going to be an all right quarterback for you. But you know what? Make those moves, and you'll make the playoffs. Thank you so much for the email. Addison, thank you so much for a fantastic fantasy formula today. We look forward to getting your emails this week, and we'll look forward to seeing you again.
Ben Roethlisberger, burger.
Next Wednesday. Peace.
Who day?
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.